Wise Living, the institution of life, changing your world and the world by training. You will be transformed and spurred to breakthroughs in your life, career, family, finance, business, and ministry as you listen to this dynamic Wise Living teaching. Now, let's join Akin A. Awolaja.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to Wise Living, the institution of life, the place of illumination, the place where life is transformed, where direction is given, where people know what to do. Our job here is to make you see, and the clearer you see, the faster you go. Once again, you are welcome to Wise Living, the institution of life. We're going to be looking at a very important subject today, titled The Seed. I believe that you're going to have an experience that will change your life today and that will raise the standard of your living so that you can enjoy life at its very best. Life was designed for the wise. And you may ask me, who is the wise? The wise is the person who listens to the word of life or the principles of life and obeys them. Wise Living is a Christian organization set up to help humanity see. The clearer you see, the faster you can handle the things that God has given to you. Wise Living is an organization set up to wake up humanity from their slumber, to help them see what belongs to them so that they can become a beneficiary of the same. At Wise Living, we train people by showing them the truth and tell them to live by biblical principles, which holds a guarantee for a successful life. It has always been said from the Bible that whosoever heareth the sayings of mine and doeth them will be likened to a wise man that built his house on the rock. Whatever happens in life will not affect such an individual. The wise is the person who listens and obeys the principles of life. Please understand that anyone can use this principle that we're going to be teaching today to transform their life. I'm going to be teaching about two stories. One was a real life story. The other was said in a parable to a set of people. But I believe that you are going to draw lessons out of these two to change your life. The things that you are going to hear today, one can use it to address the government of a nation or a nation. You can use it to address an organization. You can use it to address a family. And you can also use it to address an individual. So whatever category you belong, you can use this teaching to change your life. In life, humanity is designed to live by knowledge. That means we must know exactly what we are doing. The same way you build a property consciously, drive your car consciously, cook your food consciously, travel from one place to another consciously by flight, is the same way the creator of the world has designed man to live. Everything that is given to you by the creator of life is a seed. So your life is a seed. Your time is a seed. Your money is a seed. Your gift, talent, skills are seeds. Your home is a seed. Your idea is a seed. Your personality is a seed. Your smile is a seed. Your thought is a seed. Your action is a seed. Your compassion is a seed. This teaching is a seed to you and your loved ones from the Wise Living organization. So you are surrounded by seed. Irrespective of your location, irrespective of what you are going through, you have seeds all around you. You have seeds all around you that can make a major difference in your life. This means if you have a seed in your hand, you have something in your hand that can change your life. The seed is the instrument of change. The seed is the agent for transformation. However, you must change your life by taking advantage of the time you have to create the opportunity you need. We all have the same time, but how we use the time differs from one another. And the reason for this is because of knowledge. Knowledge determines what you do with your time. Knowledge determines the kind of opportunity you create. So when knowledge is missing, the seed can be wasted. Many years ago in history, there was a record in the Bible that there was a famine in the land, and it affected the world. There was a famine in Egypt. But before the famine, there was a man who God showed by insight that there was going to be a famine for 7 years. The man's name was Joseph. But before famine was abundance. There will always be abundance before famine. From one generation to another, there will always be abundance before famine. The only thing is that most people party during the time of plenty, and when famine comes, they suffer. This teaching is to help you know the time and the season you are in, so that you can maximize life and get the best out of life. So there is always going to be a prosperous season and also a season of lack. So this man called Joseph saw these things by what God showed him in a revelation. And he seized the opportunity to do what is right and brought out the nation from famine into plenty. What do you do in the time of plenty? We hear on the news that there's recession all over the world. People are suffering, there are cuts here and there. But a few years ago, there was also plenty. People were buying, people were spending, there were a lot of things. What I'm saying is that time has not changed. History will always repeat itself. Only the wise will learn from history and take advantage of what they know so that they don't become part of the calamity that happens to people. So Joseph knew about this. So during the time of plenty, he began to save. He began to invest. He began to store during the time of plenty, knowing that a time is coming where there will be scarcity, knowing that a time is coming where people will be looking for what to eat. So for 7 years, this man was investing his future. This man was using time to his advantage. This man was creating opportunity for the future. After the 7 years of abundance, there was another 7 years of famine. And during these 7 years, the world was in crisis. The same kind of crisis that is happening today. People came far and wide looking for what to eat in the time of famine. Some people become more prosperous, while some people become very poor because there is exchange during this time. Before the famine came, people were partying, like I said, not using their resources wisely, not using their seed wisely. So during the time of famine, they started selling the things that they had. They started selling the assets that they have accumulated. They started selling the goods that they had. They started giving their lands away. And Joseph was buying all this for the nation of Egypt. Now, a time came that the people sold nearly, if not all, everything that they had. And before that particular year, they came to Joseph and told Joseph, they said, Joseph, we have sold everything that we have, but we are hungry. Give us seed that we may eat. And this wise man called Joseph knew that the people still had a poverty mentality. Even when they were in abundance, they had a poverty mentality. And even when in famine, they still had the same mentality. So nothing has changed. Whether you have plenty or you have little, you can change it if your mind changes. So Joseph knew this, and he gave them seed. He gave them seed to eat. They were given a seed, and they came back 1 year after and told Joseph, they said, Joseph, the seed you gave us lasted us for 12 months. The truth is this: your seed, the seed that you eat, will always last you for a short period. The one that you sow that sees you through life. So they came after 12 months to Joseph and said, Joseph, give us seed that we may plant. And when Joseph saw that something in them has changed, that they now understood that seeds are not just meant to be eaten, but to be planted. So he gave them seed, but with a condition that 20% of the seed must come back as tax to the nation, to the government. The truth is this: the people never came back to Joseph because they had an understanding of what to do with the seed. Do you have an understanding of what to do with the seed that is coming to you? Do you have an understanding of the seed that you get? The same thing happened to the prodigal son in the Bible. He was in his father's house and he was enjoying. I mean, the man was enjoying. He was in abundance. He was in the midst of plenty. But he didn't change and he didn't acquire anything because he thought that having plenty is what makes you. Having plenty is not what makes you. It is you making plenty that makes you. What makes plenty is the knowledge that you have that will create the plenty. It's not the wealth that is giving you that makes you. It is the one that you create that makes you. So this son told the father, now that you are alive and you are not dead, can I have a part of my inheritance? I know that you are a wealthy man. And the father gave it to him. Not long ago, he left the house, traveled far from home, and started partying, thinking that wealth will last forever. The reason why wealth flies from some people is because they didn't know how it came in the first place. Whatever it is that comes by chance to your life will go by chance. Whatever it is that you acquire by choice will stay. So the thing left him. He started spending and spending and spending. He was not frugal at all. He started spending, and before he knew it, he blew everything. He became a poor man. He started to look for work and couldn't even get any decent one. He started working on a farm. And he was so hungry that he was competing with the pigs to eat the same food. But something dawned on him that if I go back home, my father would be cross with me. He can say anything that he wants. But before he says it, I will apologize. I will repent and tell him that I blew up. I blew everything. He will tell his father that he wasn't worthy to become a son, but for him to be a servant. Because in his father's house, even as a servant, he will enjoy. Something dawned on him. Not on how to create the wealth, but he understood that if he goes back to his father, he will enjoy plenty. The truth is this: the man didn't change. The only thing that changed in him was that he realized that in his father's house there is plenty. But as a man, you are expected to move from your father's house when you are grown up. So he didn't learn the lesson. The lesson was still missing. This is what happens to so many people on a day-to-day basis. You see people going back to work. You see people going back to work year in, year out, month in, month out, especially when they are doing the things that they don't like. They start to do these things on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. Some people get paid. Those payments are seed. What are you doing with your seed? If all you are doing is eating your seed, I can guarantee you that you will go back. People who eat their seed will always go back to their employers. People who eat their seed will always go back to the job that they don't like. People who eat their seed will always be in the situation that they don't want. People who eat their seed will always be in a situation that is not desirable. But the ones that keep sowing part of the seed and eating part of the seed will one day walk out of that employment to have their own organization, because they understand the principle of seed time. That was what happened to the people of Egypt. They told Joseph, give us seed that we may plant. God is the giver of seeds. He gives to every man. Different types of seed is what you do with the seed that makes the difference in your life. But one of the things that we must look at and understand in these two stories is to highlight what you need to make sure that you maximize your seed. The number one necessity that you need is your connection with God. He is the creator of the earth. He is the most intelligent being. He cares for you. He knows you more than you know yourself. He created this earth, and nobody knows about this earth more than him. He's the only one who created time and has every detail about what will happen. So he can tell you what season you are in. He can tell you the things that you need to do, like he showed to that man called Joseph in the Bible. So you can take advantage of your relationship with God. But before you do that, you must know God. You must know that God has your best at heart. His plans are great plans for you. There is no evil in his plan for your life at all. I love what he said. He said, if you obey and serve him, you shall spend your days in prosperity and your years in pleasure. If you obey the principles of life that he has said, and you are connected to him as your source, you will spend your days in prosperity and your years in pleasure, because you will always know what to do. I won't assume that we are all connected to God, because being connected to God means that you must accept Jesus Christ into your heart as a person. This is not religion, this is relationship. And you will start to see a change, a positive change that will never end in your life. I'd like you to just say this prayer with me. It's a very simple prayer, but be sincere about it. Be decisive, and you will start seeing your life moving forward. Heavenly Father, thank you for sending Jesus Christ into this world to die for my sins. I believe he is the Son of God. I believe he died and rose again for my justification. I confess him today as my Lord and Savior. I am now the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. Thank you for saving me. Congratulations if you have just said that prayer. I want you to know that things, positive things will start happening for you Because you cannot be connected to source and lack resources. You cannot be connected to the one who knows the way and be lost in life. I would strongly advise that you look for a Bible-believing church that practices the word of God and become a member of that church, and you will see progress continuing in your life. So, like I've said, you need to be connected to God. Number two, you need to be observant about what is happening around you. There's always a rotation in season. History is always repeating itself. So see what is happening around you and maximize the moment. Observe what is happening around you and take advantage of it. Through observation, you will see that you are not following the trend, but you are making up a trend for you. Majority are not always right, so you need to be very observant about what is happening around you. That is why knowledge is required. You need knowledge, you need understanding, and you need wisdom. The world is designed to be lived by knowledge. You need to know and understand and apply the lessons of life before the blessings can flow to you. The same way you have the social security in the United States of America, and most of the things that you need to do in that nation, if you are not a citizen of that nation, and even if you are a citizen, you still need the social security, is done through that channel. The same thing happens in other nations of the world. In China, you need a working permit if you are not a citizen of that nation. The same thing with Australia, the same thing with the United Kingdom, the same thing with Canada. You need a working visa to do anything in that nation. Now, these are the things that you must know. You can't just fly to the nation and say that you will do something and start thinking of things without having things in place. You'll be stranded. If you decide to be a resident in that nation, there are prerequisites, there are things that you must do. Recently, I traveled to the nation of Spain, and I was discussing with a friend of mine and finding out how things work there, because I saw some people and I was asking questions. Now, I was told that if you just travel to that nation and you are not a citizen and you are going to live in that nation and become a citizen, you have a time period of 12 to 14 years before you can get any documentation. You must labor there for 12 to 14 years before you can become a citizen of that nation. That is a long time. What I'm saying is simple. What I'm saying is this: you must know what you are doing to take advantage of your entitlements. You can't be a beneficiary of what you don't know. So knowledge is important. Knowledge is so vital. And when knowledge is understood, it is called understanding. When knowledge is understood, then we say you have come to a point of realization. Please understand that you cannot take advantage, like I said, of what you don't know is yours. Understanding is the fertilizer of life. And when you apply it to destiny or any endeavor, amazing fruitfulness becomes the end product. When you understand about the seed that you are holding, you have a knowledge of the seed, you understand it, it will produce amazing result. And the last thing is wisdom. Wisdom is the application of understood knowledge. Wisdom is simply acting out what you have understood for you to have your desired result. In the two stories I spoke about, one of them understood, or the people understood in one of the stories what to do. They understood that one, that their situation was caused by them because they didn't take advantage of the time. When they were supposed to save and invest, they didn't do anything. They were partying in the midst of plenty. They understood that their result came from them. And when they understood that even in the midst of famine, there was still seed, yet they were still eating the seed, and the result didn't change. But they understood again that if they could plant their seed, then they don't have to go back to Joseph to ask for anything. So the mentality changed, their action changed, their result changed. Your result is a product of the application of understood knowledge. That is what wisdom is all about. You need these things to make the seed fruitful. We are still looking at the subject, the seed. What do you need to know about the seed in your hand? What do you need to know about the seed in your life? I'm going to give you 10 things to know that will help you to raise the standard of living for your life, for your organization, for your family, and ultimately for your nation. The number one thing is that it takes sacrifice for your seed to produce maximally. That means you have to delay gratification. You have to hold back your seed. You can't just eat everything. If your seed is going to be multiplied, then it has to be sacrificed by sowing. You can't be eating everything and have a glorious future. When you eat your seed, it goes away from you. But when you sow it, it keeps living in your life. If you don't want the seed, then all you have to do is eat the fruit. The seed you have in your hand is the future that you have in your hand. The seed that you have in your hand is the future that you desire. So until sacrifice comes in, by sowing the seed and eating part of it and sowing it is what life is all about. But don't eat everything. If you eat everything, that means you won't have anything. You'll become a beggar tomorrow. The seed needs to be sown, and that is where sacrifice comes in. Number two thing about the seed that you need to know is that God gives the seed to everyone and blesses your seed sown. That means wherever you are in the nation of the earth, whatever race you are, whatever location you live in, there is always a seed in your life, or there are seeds in your life. The amazing thing in life is that there's always a seed in your life, whether in abundance or scarcity. The thing is that you must recognize the seed and plant them on time. God only multiplies what you sow, not what you have eaten. Everything God gives to you is a seed, and he multiplies what you plant. The seed is always smaller than the fruit. Never come to a place where you despise the seed, otherwise you will never handle the fruit. So you have an understanding that God gives you a seed. If you check your life now, you are surrounded by seed. You have talent, is a seed. You have a personality, is a seed. You have an idea, is a seed. You have time, is a seed. Whatever it is that you have is a seed that you can use to transform your life. The number three thing you need to know about the seed in your life is understanding time and season. There's always a process of time between the time of planting and harvesting. The seed does not become a fruit in one day. Your seed will take time to grow before it can be converted into food. Never mistake your planting season for harvest. Otherwise, you'll be disappointed. those who don't continue to sow in abundance will shortly run out of seed and food. So you have to understand that time and season is an opportunity to create your desire. There's always seed to sow. But in the time of plenty, a lot of people party. And that is how famine catches up with everyone. Who is not intelligent enough or wise enough to plant their seed? You must always be a sower of seed, regardless whether it's in time of plenty or in time of scarcity. Number 4, thing to know about your seed is understanding the work ethics that surrounds the seed. It was Winston Churchill that said, responsibility is the price you pay for greatness. It takes work for beauty or plenty to emerge in your life. It takes work to separate your seed from bread. It takes work to locate a conducive field to sow your seed. It takes work to grow your seed, to take care of the weeds and the thorns. They may be competing with the seed. It takes work. It takes work to look after your seed from the time of germination to fruition. It takes work. It takes work to harvest your seed. It takes work to process your seed into bread. It takes work to trade your proceeds and your products. The good thing is, it is worth it. You have to understand the work ethics. It is work that makes it beautiful. It is work that makes your seed a product. It is work that makes your seed bread. So you must understand that it's work. Planting is work, making sure that you have the seed growing. It's only those who keep the fig tree that will eat the fruit thereof. Number 5, what do you need to know about your seed? Know your field. Your seed will not grow in every place. So you must know the field. You must have an understanding of where the seed is growing. If you do this, you will not waste the seed, because inside the seed is the capacity to multiply. Inside the seed is the capacity to multiply. So when you sow the seed in its place, it must prosper. When you put the seed in its place, it must germinate and produce result. When the seed is in its place, it must flourish. So you must know your field and be able to sow the seed inside it for the future you desire. Number 6, you must care for your seed. You have to take care of the seed once it starts to grow, so that it doesn't get choked up by thorns and thistles. Basically, what that means is that you have to mind your business. It takes time to check up on what is it that you are doing, to evaluate it, to make sure that the seed is growing the way it should grow and it's not bending the way it shouldn't bend. So it takes time for you to care for your seed. Remember, only those who keep the fig tree are entitled to the fruits. Number 7, effective and efficient harvesting. Every seed that is catered for becomes a tree and ends up a fruit. During the time of harvest, you must be efficient and effective. You must ensure that you harvest immediately and carefully store away to prevent it from decadence. So this requires time as well. There is no point laboring all this time for somebody else to take your fruit, or for the pest to come and feast on your fruit. So you must know how to efficiently and effectively harvest the seed as soon as it turns into a fruit. Number 8, becoming a blessing. You must enjoy the fruit of your labor and share it with others, especially those who are less privileged. It is good to understand that, part of the reasons why God blesses you is to be a blessing to others. But before you can be a blessing to others, you must first be blessed. Because you can only give what you have. You can't give what you don't have. Apart from giving people part of the proceeds and sharing with others, becoming a blessing ultimately is teaching people what you have done, because they can do the same and get results. Showing people how you did it so that they can get the same result. One of the reasons why you must do this is so that you can ensure that you have less liabilities around. One of the reasons why you are doing this, you must know that the profit of the earth is for all. Everyone can be blessed. As I've always said, we can all fly at the same time without crashing in the air. No one has to fail for you to be successful. The thing about teaching people what you know is that the responsibility still lies on people to do what you have taught them. The fact that you share with people what you know doesn't mean everybody will do it. So you will always still have liabilities around. The truth remains that you are responsible for your life. Number 9, creating wealth. When your seeds are sown, you end up with fruits, which gives you more seed. And if you plant them, you will get more fruits. And if the chain continues, you will have more fruits and more seeds until abundance becomes your identity. You have to select the bountiful fruits and sow the seeds for the next season. If you want to live in abundance, then you must do this. You must continue the cycle. You end up becoming a profitable citizen of the earth. You live the way you want to live. It takes wise decision. It takes wise action and consistent action for you to realize this. So you must invest more than you eat if you want to become a profitable citizen of the earth. Number 10, which is the last one, be creative with your seed. Be ready to convert your seed into bread to maximize returns on your labor. Ensure you trade by striking best deals. It is during famine that the wise, who have continued sowing their bountiful seeds, buy out assets from the foolish individuals who have eaten up their seed. And the only thing they have are their properties, their lands. And that is when exchange takes place. That is where wealth is transferred. During famine, your fruit, which is a product of your seed, has the purchasing power for accumulation through trading. Your seed is the medium for wealth exchange. So don't just sell your fruit the way it is. Go the extra mile of refining it. An example is gold. I've said it's better to be a gold maker than a gold digger. A gold digger just digs the gold and in its raw state is crude. It pays next to peanuts. But when it goes through the refinery, it becomes gold and it sells a lot. Some of the African nations or some of the nations in the world, some of them, an example is Nigeria. We are the number 5th oil producing nation in the world. But we are producing crude oil, selling the crude oil for nothing. Until it is refined, it doesn't carry the weight that is required to carry in value. So go the extra mile of being creative with your seed. If you do this, you end up becoming a profitable citizen of the earth. Somebody might ask, are these principles still effective in our time, in our season? Does it really work? You have mentioned stories that happened ages ago. You've talked about individuals, but is it still functional in this time and in this age? I'll say yes, an absolute yes. I'm going to give 4 reasons that will help you to see that the seed principle is still effective in this present time. Number 1, it is the principle of life, which means as long as the earth exists, this powerful principle will be effective because the Creator designed it to work this way. It will always work because it's part of life. Number 2, the principle is no respecter of person or location. So wherever you are in the world, you can practice this principle and become a beneficiary of the same. You can enjoy the result irrespective of the location you are, as long as you engage the principle. Number 3, the principle of seed is the medium for abundance. The Creator of the earth used the same principle to populate the earth. He created Adam and Eve, and we have the human race today. Population, and we keep on growing. I believe we're about 7 billion in the world today, just from 2 seeds. The same thing with the animals, the same thing with plants and other resources. If it's working for the Creator, if it has been working since inception of the creation of the world, it will still work for you if you engage it. So it is wisdom to engage the seed principle to have a profitable living on this earth. Number 4 is salvation, which is the greatest gift to humanity, which happened on the same platform of the seed principle. God wanted to reconcile man back to himself after the fall of man, and he did it by sowing a seed of salvation through Jesus Christ for the entire human race, so that the human race can be saved. Everyone can be saved. This seed principle is still working, is still potent, and is still generating result. Like I've said, it will be wise for you to engage in this principle. It works for anyone who will practice it. The question now is, what are you going to do with the seed or the seeds in your hand? The seeds in your life. I believe with this insight, you will take the required step to change your life. You do not have an excuse to fail in life because you are designed to be a success. Where you find yourself tomorrow is a function of the decision and action you take today.
We believe you've enjoyed listening to this life-transforming, insightful teaching. For more information, to purchase any of our resource materials, log on to www.wiseliving.org.uk. Send us an email at info@wiseliving.org.uk or call us on 0794 7416 044 or 0797 040 9757 or write to us at Wise Living, PO Box 936, Dagenham, Essex, RM9 9JL, United Kingdom. Wise Living, changing your world and the world by today.